Welcome back to the Nerd... Kevin. Are you alright, dude?
Oh my god, the fan service. Too much. Ghost in the Shell episode 2, couldn't handle it, been having nosebleeds all day long. Oh, no, guys. Welcome back to the pod. We're so glad to have you. We're discussing Ghost in the Shell episode 2. The Makoto Makeout episode, which everyone wants to talk about, but
that's the official title.
That's the official title. Makoto making out on the yacht. Watch it. No, that's the official title for the episode. But we've got a lot to discuss here. But it came out literally this morning. I watched it as soon as I woke up, Dan, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It didn't disappoint. I loved it, just like I liked the first one. There are some things I need to talk about later, but let's just do a basic talk for a second here. How are you, DK, by the way?
I'm doing good, man. Last night, we did our Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence thing, and I have to throw an acknowledgement to you, because you, during that podcast, you said, you know, the little hacker island in that movie reminded you of Javier Bardem's secret island in Skyfall. And then you discovered something today, and you texted me all excited. You got to tell people what you discovered.
Okay, well, yeah, I was going to do well, maybe I will. I'll still do a separate short about this, but I was like, there is something so oddly familiar with this from the James Bond film, because he looks off, there's a tanker on the island, and when they're flying in Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, they're flying to this, basically, it's a you know, in China, there's those mega cities that were never really built, or they were built, but no one's living there. It's just it's a desolate wasteland. Basically, that's like the server territory of the universe in Ghost in the Shell world. And I'm like, this is kind of weird, because this kind of is eerily reminiscent of Skyfall with James Bond. Because in the movie Skyfall, Javier Bardem's character, Silva, he's an ex-agent, but he's a cyber hacker. That's what he does. Literally, he does it. He hacks the base, M, Q, all that. He hacks into their mainframe. He destroys, basically, the secret division of James Bond's headquarters in London. I'm like, what the hell? So they go to this island in Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, which, by the way, watch the pod. If you haven't watched it yet, watch the film, watch the pod. It's great. But they go to this island. I'm like, this is so weird, because it's a desolate place. No one's there. They even mentioned that. You see off a tanker in the background and say, well, this was used for, basically storing data. It's a new storage center for all the data in the world. I'm like, that's so weird, because there was a movie that was just like this in its physical look and everything. And that was Skyfall with James Bond, with Javier Bardem. That's when he goes and confronts him on his little private island. And guess what?
Okay. So just to put a pin in a couple, because there were two waves of this revelation. First was you were like, dude, Javier Bardem was a hacker in Skyfall. And I didn't even remember that. I was like, he's doing cyber terrorism. But then there was a second revelation, which I think is what you're getting to right now, about the connection that these two movies share.
Exactly. So the revelation there is that not only was I completely accurate, I just didn't even realize it, but it was based off these islands. I don't want to. I wish I had looked it up right now, but I didn't know you were going to talk about this. But Nishima Islands, north of Japan. It was Russian-owned and controlled for a while, because it's right in the same territory, and now basically it's just a desert wasteland with, operational facilities if they ever needed to use it. But it's like perfect
the
bad guys.
Ostrov Islands, also called the Gunkanjima, is what you texted.
Okay, sorry, Gunkanjima. I don't have my cell phone on me because I'm actually recording on my cell phone, but. That's the islands. Exactly. So I was like, what were the islands inspired by 007? I looked it up, and then it took me another link. I was like, well, these islands, looking like, were they in Ghost in the Shell? I was like, yes, it's the same inspiration. So I was actually right, and I had no idea. So even though I'm not the best podcast talker out there, sometimes I come up with a few things here and there, not to give myself a bone, but yeah, to give myself a bone. I kind of nailed that on spot on. Yeah.
Your brain connected the dots, man. I mean,
the dots.
Not just the coincidence that both the characters are hackers and cyber terrorists, but that the islands in both movies were based on an actual place, Gunkanjima, which means battleship island, I guess is the translation for that. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's just a cool little piece of trivia that your brain just kind of stumbled over. That's amazing.
I was kind of hacked, so I missed like little bits and pieces in there, but I was like, there's something, the main core was still kind of there, which is actually a great segue to the episode we're talking about now, because episode 2, we get into the meat of the story. The first one was a great introduction. It let everyone know who's watching that Ghost in the Shell 2026 adaptation is going to be an amazing manga adaptation, right? But in this episode, we get the garbage men, we get all the things that you love from the 1995 film, but they start putting it into the TV show. So before we even get into that, I'm just going to do like a quick brief. I promise it's going to be a quick brief overview here, and I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis, and then we can talk about it in full. Okay? Is that cool, DK?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Following the events of the premiere, Makoto Kusanagi and her team are officially recruited by Daisuke Aramaki to form the nucleus of what will become Public Security Section Number 9, referred to as the Shell Squad. Now, the first assignment immediately throws them into a high-stakes political crisis when the cyber brain of the foreign minister's interpreter is infected with a mysterious virus just before a confidential diplomatic meeting. Aramaki suspects the attack is more than an isolated cyber crime. Intelligence points towards the exiled Colonel Malaise, who may be orchestrating an attempt to sabotage the negotiations from behind the scenes. Now, rather than responding with brute force, Kusanagi's newly assembled Section 9 team launches a cyber forensic trace back to identify the source of the intrusion before the conspiracy can escalate. And that's basically it. Is we get our first signs of ghost hacking in this episode as well. But let's not even talk about the details of the show. Let's just talk about how we liked it. And we'll get into the plot a little bit later. What did you think on your first initial reactions of watching the pod?
Well, I can tell from
watching the episode, sorry.
I can tell right off watching the pod, I can tell right off the jump that you really enjoyed it, which is cool. I watched it a couple of times for this pod, like I did for the first episode, once in Japanese, once in English. And I gotta say, your synopsis of it was so succinct and clear versus the episode itself. It waffles between some really great character discovery moments and a lot of very dense, almost impenetrable world building stuff. I mean, like you said,
it was tough. It was actually tough. It was tough.
Yeah, it's tough to chew. When Aramaki comes in, it's funny because the Major, she's at a bar drinking ice water out of a wine glass. And even right from there, there's this throwaway line about, oh, that's how much it takes to make real water or something. And then he comes in and does this whole thing. It's like, hey, so that thing that I told you about the squad being formed was actually only half true. It's not really true. I've got good news and bad news for you. That we're going to actually form a squad and they're going to fund it 3 times more, but it's not really a squad. It's actually a shell squad, and it's something, blah, blah, blah. And it was such a crazy dense explanation for what was essentially, we're forming Section 9, baby. It was so wordy and heavy, and I had to pause for a second and just think, wait, did I miss something crucial about what he said, or is it just very verbose and overwhelming? But then as the episode went on, this repeats a few times. There's a conversation between Togusa and the Major and the van about their preference for guns and why they like the guns that they like. And it's like, oh, this thing can pierce at this thing, but it's actually better close range. Well, duh, every gun is better close range unless the ammunition explodes like a rocket launcher. So a lot of stuff like that. So there was a lot of that, but notwithstanding, beautiful animation, some really funny character moments. My button on this little rant will just be, I love that the episode opens up with Togusa holding his baby, fretting about being fired because he got knocked out in the last episode. And he's just like, oh God, I'm such a loser. I'm gonna lose my job. I fucked everything up. Oh my God. That was great.
Well, let me jump on what you said a minute ago, because it's so funny, because I actually had this as a talking point for this pod tonight, was when you mentioned that Aramaki comes in and he says this bit of dialogue. I had to watch this episode a few times to really dig deep into it. And I've read the manga, I've seen the films. I was like, it is very dense, and it's not you know, Arameki, when he does his dialogue, they're almost given as throwaway lines. But here's all the viewers there who are watching now. Heed this advice. Anytime Arameki says anything, from now on in this series, that's going to be your input to pay attention, because he's probably going to be furthering the plot, like in a significant way. I didn't even realize that the first time, and I watched it again this afternoon, and I was like, oh, wait, what really happened in this episode? Because it was dense. It was a lot going on. It was hard to really kind of follow the plot in a lot of ways. So, like, I will be honest with you there. I did really enjoy the episode, but, like, it wasn't as good as number one. But the fact that there's so much going on in Arameki's lines that really furthered the progress of the plot were almost given as throwaways. So whenever you see him go on screen, you have to just pay attention, because that's pretty much what the whole main premise of this episode's about. You know, he came back and he talked to Bato in the jungle when he was doing reconnaissance on Colonel Melee's, and he said a couple lines there. And I was like, oh, right. Pick up on that. You know, just pick up anytime Arameki comes on the screen. I got to make sure to pay extra close attention, because that's probably going to be what's spurring the plot for this episode. So it's funny you said that, because
it's one of the weird things though is that there was talk about how they were almost tricked into believing that what was happening at the orphanage in the first episode wasn't really happening or something, and the Prime Minister and Aramaki have a disagreement about whatever, and he's like, "Oh, do you think that the Prime Minister would have sent you in to, you know, mess up this rogue orphanage?" And by the end of that, both viewings, I'm like, I actually don't know what the point of the orphanage was. Yeah, I don't know what the point of the orphanage was. I mean, it was a fun little adventure that we went on in the first episode, but I don't know the point of it. What I came away from this episode was that Major Motoko Kusanagi is a very charming hedonist. In the first episode, one? Oh yeah. By the way, amazing shirt, dude. I've never seen that shirt before. It's so good.
Isn't it cool? I just got it the other day. Thanks, man. It's my new Makoto Kusanagi 2026 Ghost in the Shell shirt. Ah! Fan service. No.
But, dude, I love what a hedonist she is. Like, when in the first episode, when she's off duty, she's forcing everybody to go cherry blossom viewing. In this episode, she's plugged into a construct in the Matrix type reality where she and her lesbian harem are turning their haptics up and putting like slippery blue stuff on their arms and I don't know, doing something with that.
They're about to have some form of cyber sex, because they're actually all in the room when she wakes up from this fun little yacht adventure. But you know, it was I mean, it's really crazy because that might be one of the most memorable moments. But I remember this in the manga. It's in the manga. You know, Shirow, you know, never turned away from this kind of stuff either. You know, like, you know, he's been known to do that. So Shirow has that in his repertoire. So there was definitely some fan service in this episode, but I actually really did enjoy it because I had read the manga and I was like, are they going to do this scene? Because this is, you know, they're doing a new translations for Amazon Prime. They have been in the first episode. They were very, very, you know, pretty much word for word verbatim the manga adapted. I was like, are they gonna do it? Do they have the nuts to do this? And they did it. And it was more than I thought. Dude, they didn't hold back. Like, I mean, you know, obviously there was no nudity in this one, but like it was, you know, it was suggested. I mean, it was it
was very suggested, yeah.
It was very suggestive and like,
it was all for the very funny gag that it's always at that moment that Bato just happens to look into her brain. Yeah. And I love the way that was depicted, where all of a sudden the construct dissolves and it's just Bato's face, and then she collapses into his face, which is a blanket, and then wakes up in the real world. And then does something that so far we've only seen, or I've only seen anyway, in Arise, which is she is able to hack into him and make him punch himself in the face.
Oh yeah,
which was fun.
She can. I think that's with the ghost key. So yeah, that's what if you have a ghost key, that means you can like you can actually manipulate their brain and their body to do physical actions. It's like the ghost key. So that, like don't touch the ghost key. You know, like don't touch that. That's kind of what they're always saying. Right. Besides going deep in the ghost brain, but this, I'm glad they had this scene there. It was enjoyable, a lot of fun. Like it is what it is. definitely fan service, but hey, Makoto expressing herself. I guess she's a lesbian, or maybe she's bi. I don't even know. But I'll tell you this: Dan was right. I thought Bato kind of always had a thing for Makoto, but after rewatching this episode and what you said about what happened in the first episode, I realized their relationship is very much like a brother-sister relationship. Big brother, little sister thing. So it's not sexual at all. It's very much just like he gets creeped out by Makoto's hedonistic behavior.
Yeah.
So
he's
you were right.
he's like Big Brother who's walking in on her all the time, and it grosses him out.
Puts them on. Yeah. So you were right. I was totally wrong on that one. So I got to give you even more props on that, DK.
Well, I mean,
that was something.
It could be something different in the other versions too.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little bit different, but in this one, it's definitely a big brother, little sister kind of scenario. Where it's like, oh gosh, but it's like, what do? You live your life one day at a time, and you're 99% cyber. You got to feel something. You got to try to feel something to be human. So maybe that's her escape, is doing stuff like that. She's either floating in the water, like in the film Ghost in the Shell, to just have some kind of movement or flow in her life and body, and she's flowing on the water here, getting in tune with her other girlfriends. So cheers to you. But, okay. Now that we touched that, we talked about that segment. Are there any other plot details you really want to touch on, or just I don't really think we don't go super plot heavy in our pods like a lot of other like recap pods and review pods do. We just like to talk about how it made us feel and what was good about the episode, what was bad about the episode. So
yeah, well, I think that the plot, I mean, they're setting up obviously the puppet master. We have that beat from the movie where the minister's interpreter is being hacked into by the two garbage truck drivers, which we get our first look at in this episode. We're setting up that plot. I feel like very important, and I feel like I wish that there had been a little bit more of that if this had
one more episode, right?
Yeah, part one of a two-parter, because there was so much dense geopolitics, like when Bato and Aramaki. By the way, for some reason, Aramaki is a hilarious character in this version. The whole thing where Bato hides fireworks under his car, but then he just has a backup moped that he rides out on, and then randomly Bato is spying on that foreign dude and junk jungle, and then Aramaki just comes up with a camouflage cloak
and he's just, like, oh yeah,
and he shows up and he's like, here's all of the geopolitics you need to know, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so dense. This author Shirow, he loved his world building. I'll say that he loved his world building.
In the manga that you see here, in the manga, like there are appendices and there's special sections written down in the bottom, like, oh wow. I mean, not in this, you can't really see here, but like, look at this. I mean, look at that. Like, that's probably just explaining the outfit or something like that. Like, there's always like huge, in detailed explanations of how the world works, and that really does make it like live and breathe, which is really, really cool. But I like the fact that that's dense, but I like the fact that, look, I got to give Science Saru credit, because the manga is super dense, and they're making it as light as they can with still giving an honest and faithful adaptation of the true product. Like a lot of times that episode could have easily gotten lost in a million different ways, a bad script, like they could have done it wrong, but it turned out all right. Like this wasn't like an A+ episode. It was definitely like, shit, I can't wait to see part 2, because you see him tracking in the water, right? He splashes and you see it on the bad guy's, camouflage. You're like, oh shit, it's about to go down. The infamous chase scene. Bato's going to catch up, and we're going to find out what happens, and they're going to have the water fight. And I can't wait for Science Saru to adapt that, to see how that's going to be, because they're like, oh, this is one of those episodes that we gotta spend the money on. We gotta make. I'm sure, and every episode looks like it's freaking $1 billion, but the next one, that they're gonna be like, hey, this scene's gotta blow people away, because it's already one of the most iconic scenes in anime and in cinema together. But you're right, because it does suck, because it's like, dude, I was like, I'm ready. At the end, it was such an abrupt ending. It's like boom and cut and it's done. I'm like, dude, damn it, I gotta wait one more week. So I mean, maybe that's a good thing that we're like excited to see it, but it's also kind of frustrating because it's like, dude, that wasn't done yet. You know, like we needed a little bit more of that episode. I don't know. I felt a little bit, you know, not quite full. You know, you go to a buffet and you're like, I don't want to overeat, and you have just 2 plates instead of 5. And I was like, man, give me the 5. You know, I want to get it all. But
You know, I'll say one thing that I liked about the world building in this episode, which is just this funny detail that these garbage workers are working around the clock. There's so much garbage in this world that they live in that they're sleeping at the office. It's like, oh, you've been sleeping at the office for a week? Yep, been sleeping at the office for a week. They've also been like begging for protective gear so that they're not cut by sharps, broken glass, or syringes that people inappropriately throw away. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much of that, and I thought that was pretty funny, a funny detail. But I also like that in this version, in the source material, that during this pursuit, that Togusa and the Major are both using Fushikomas, which are both stealthy, and they have Spider-Man powers. They just swing around. Yeah.
And they have a lot of personality as well, which is really cool because in the classic film, they're basically just machines you drove in. They could talk, but like that was it. Now, hell, in the 1995 film, I don't even know if they really did talk, but they actually have personalities. They are AI, you know, they are robots, but they like have feelings, and they're really they're a great connector for the audience to these characters, and to see them in full display here doing their thing, you know, being cool Fuchikomas. Like I want to get one of those, you know, toys. I mean, we used to play the game back in the day, DK. Back on PlayStation 2. Yeah. That was like your main thing to get around. You drove around the Fushikomas. And I was like, those things are awesome. So like it is good to see them like front and center, getting their place in Ghost in the Shell. I mean, they've always been in the series, but now they actually have little personalities, and they're kind of causing chaos. But I love Togusa, but I'm kind of a little bit frustrated that he's kind of becoming like the brunt of a lot of the jokes here. I'm like, man,
totally.
Like, he was like, because if you're a fan of the film, you know, you kind of really connect to the character in the 1995 Ghost in the Shell film, because you know he's pretty much 90% human when everyone else in the film is 99% cyborg. So besides he and Aramaki, it's just good to have a character you can connect to from a personal relationship level, because he's married, he has a young infant daughter, and like he doesn't want to die, and like that's real stakes. And now, you know, obviously the tone in this show is lighter, but like just to see you know, Togusa just become the brunt of every joke is kind of frustrating to me, because he's one of my favorite characters. But that's just
the most human character is the most pathetic. He's that guy at work who's always worried that he's going to get fired, and yet he is also the Kenny of South Park to the show, where it just gets knocked out in every episode. In every episode, on every mission, even the garbage truck drivers who had a missile fired through their truck and this huge explosion behind them, they were completely conscious at the end of that. Togusa was the only one who botched his landing or something and got knocked out, which was funny. But yeah, I mean, cool stuff. Okay. I feel like the animation team did a couple of cool things to enhance character too. For instance, when the garbage truck driver, who we know from the film has implanted memories about a family that's not really his, when he's talking with this kind of dead-eyed stare, just looking out the window and talking as though he is reciting something that he's memorized. And we spend most of the shot on the other guy, just giving him the side eye, like
he's doing this, but that just like little black dot eyes too. He's like, what the hell is this guy thinking?
Yeah, it's like is this guy even talking to me anymore? Like, what is going on? What movie just came on behind me? Oh, it's Project Hail Mary.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one too. I mean, I saw
it's a great movie.
So it's a great movie.
I'll just block it a little bit just so that just for copyright reasons. Yeah.
But no, it's a great moment, and I mean, I'm just actually very excited to see the next episode. Like, if anything, like I don't feel mad about this episode. I mean, I would say overall, if I was just gonna rank it, DK, I'd have to give it like C plus B minus, like adjacent, just because like they packed a lot of stuff in. I got some you get some really funny moments, you get some good stuff, but it just didn't feel like a complete episode. It felt like it was part 1 and part 2, and it's like, oh man. So now I have to wait a whole another 7 days. So it's more about my personal first world problems, needing more Ghost in the Shell Prime TV series when I want it, instead of just having to say, damn, now I gotta wait again. If it's like it's like Game of Thrones, when after season 2 of the House of the Dragon, when nothing happened at the end, you're like, oh well, damn it, I gotta wait a year for season 3 to come out. But in our case, it's 1 week to see the big
and
fight.
Speaking of first world problems, let's talk about the medium in which this is being released, which is Prime Video. So I said in the last when we covered the first episode of the show, I said I thought it was great that Prime had this show because it creates competition in the market, because Crunchyroll, has kind of a monopoly right now, Sony. I would prefer now that this show were on Crunchyroll, because in a 22 minutes of story, there were 4 ad breaks. 4 ad breaks. The same 2 or 3 ads every single time. 1 at the top, 3 in the middle. And I was like, okay, I get you have to have an ad model. I'm all for anime making its money. And it's hard for anime to make money now. People don't buy, video as much as they used to. Yeah. Exactly. So, it's hard to get people to go to theaters for anything, except in North America, apparently, where anime does gangbusters. But I digress.
Yeah, it does.
I digress. It's like, have one 2 or 3 minute ad break in the middle at the act break, and just let it be that. I mean, there was literally an ad break at the end of the episode when we're on the garbage truck drivers running away from the major. I know. And it's like wait, we just had an ad break 5 minutes ago. What the heck is going on? It's crazy.
Hey,
first world problems.
Get off my lawn. I'm with you. I'm gonna come on the lawn with you and just complain about that, because I'm glad we do pods together, DK, because everything you're saying I can echo back. You're talking about the Aramaki Dent stuff. That was my biggest takeaway from this episode. I had to watch it a couple times just to really get the full details of what I need to talk about, what we're gonna discuss tonight, and then also just the fact that there were so many freaking ads. But I don't want to pay extra $20 for ads, dude. I have every damn streaming service in the world. And then, when you're podcasting, you got to spend a damn near $100 a month on all the apps and stuff you use and whatever for that to make it work. So it's like, I was like, are you kidding me? So I spend a lot on these damn, sites. I was like, I wish there were less ads. I mean, if it was an ad one, give me just 2 ads, right? 2 ads. But 4 or 5 is I was like, dude, this is kind of getting ridiculous.
For 22 minutes. It's just greedy. Minutes,
yeah.
It's just greedy.
It's kind of messed up.
So and not in any. Okay, so the purpose for those of you who don't know, when television writing first became a thing, the act structure was baked into television so that there would always be a cliffhanger or some form of fresh news to get you excited about what's going to come next. And then that would lead into the ad break so that you would watch the ads and come back. That was the point. Right. That was the point. And all of TV writing for the last, however many years has been structured around this principle. The ads in this show just came out of nowhere. It's right in the middle of what's happening. Here's a bunch of ads. Boom! Now what's going on? It's not that at all. It's literally the enshittification of content. Just how can we squeeze as much money out of people as possible?
And it's so funny, DK, that you mentioned that, because right now, as we're podding on YouTube, it's probably going to go to a commercial break now, because they do ads all day on YouTube too. No, I'm joking, but seriously, it might do that unless you pay for premium. It's going to send you some ads in the middle of your pod, but. Let's get back on track. But hey, I'm there with you on the lawn. Let us know in the comments, guys. Are you guys frustrated with that? Do you want to pay 20 extra bucks to have no ads? For me, on HBO, I do the premium. That's my thing. But Amazon Prime, I'm I don't watch it enough besides this now.
How much is Prime right now anyway? It's $150 a year or something like that,
I think it's $129, but I could be wrong. I'm not I've had it for
Give or take.
a decade now. Yeah, 120
Give or take
to
20
150 bucks. But it's like, dude, I was like, you guys have more money in the world than anyone. Like, come on, just give us this. But like, they know, like, dude, you want that Ghost in the Shell? You want that shit, huh? Oh, you want it for cheap? Okay, well, watch this ad, bro. And that's how they get us. That's how they get us, and it's fine because the truth is, at the end of the day, we can complain all we want, DK, but I'm still gonna watch the ads. That gives me time to go make a drink, bro. You know, that's what I
Kevin,
that's what I use it
you
for.
made
You just
4
don't drink
drinks
enough.
when you woke up this morning. Because you said you watched it right when you woke up. You're like, all right, there's an ad at the top, make a drink. Oh, there's an ad 5 minutes in, another drink. You're just slurping down drinks. Slurping Zimas, baby.
Haters gonna hate. Slurping
Kevin's a big
Zimas.
he's a big Zima guy. He's just like ooh.
Boone's Farm. Why? No. Okay, back. I'm having a great time, but I do want to get back on track here. So I have a couple. This is our rapid fire section. We just started adding to our
Rapid
podcast
fire.
recently. We're doing rapid
literally.
fire.
We just started it in Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence episode. Let's do it.
Rapid fire. Is this episode better than episode 1, DK?
No.
Exactly. I agree.
But it is
not.
funny that
It's still
it
good.
is funny that the kid that they rescued, that she gave a speech like, "Hey, go and seize life yourself. No one's coming to rescue you. Be your own man." He became the slave driver for the children.
Yeah.
For the
Now
sweatshop.
the other child runs a sweatshop. Or like, dude,
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? I was like, this is the worst. But like, that's what makes it funny. Like, I mean, the humor is kind of dark in this show too. It's like subtly dark. It's just, it's there, but it's subtle, and it's just, it's not apparent. But if you read the context, it's like, oh, that's kind of messed up. But
Yeah,
it's great.
Okay, there's a very dark sense of humor, but
There's a very dark sense of humor in there, and I like it. I appreciate that actually. But
despite the fan service, which we all appreciated, I'd still say episode 1 was better.
That's my fan service. That's my fan service face voice. Okay, your favorite scene from this episode? Go.
Favorite scene from this episode that wasn't the fan service scene.
Well, I mean, it could be. It could be, bro. Don't hate on your don't. If you like that shit, then like be loud and proud, bro.
I'm trying to remember. I have to sift through all of the geopolitical weapon talk. All the. Man, is there like a favorite scene or a favorite moment? I gotta say.
Well, so much for rapid fire, GK.
Okay. My favorite scene was the garbage men collecting the trash, because that scene where they cut themselves with the sharps, when the guy has all the syringes stuck in his head, when he comes up and he's like, "Oh, these say test vials,
test subject vials." I'm like, okay,
test samples. It's like, oh man, that was dark and funny. Yeah, and then they had this whole conversation about unionizing, and it's like, yeah, whatever, communists, just pick up garbage. Yeah, so that was probably my favorite.
I really enjoy that scene too, because like as most of the people who are watching this are probably fans of the 1995 original film Ghost in the Shell. So anytime you see the connections between the manga and like the film that they remember as like one of their favorite films of all time, is always cool to see. Like, oh, how is this going to be different? How does it look? The adaptation. So like it was great to see the garbage man scene. That was probably my second favorite scene, but I gotta say, it was the fan service. You know what? I loved it. It was great. I was like, this is funny. It's awesome. I was like, whoa, they went for it.
Look, it was
Kudos,
very
guys.
funny. The whole thing about her haptics are turned up to
the
5.
haptics have turned up to 5, and I was like, oh, they went for
like
it,
the lubricated blue arm and the implications of that. It was like, oh, okay. It was pretty funny. And then to land with, that's the moment that Bato has to contact her, and he has to peek in on that, and he just walks in, he's like, oh God, what am I looking at?
But because he's like, oh, endorphins, and he literally sends he hacks her key, and he uses like syringes like with like medication to like pull her out of that state, because he's like, no, don't do it. And he literally pulled her out of that situation by like he did something to biohack her in a way. It was like what? And she took those shots so she could like just come back down. So Bato, that's a dude. That guy's he's a cock blocker, or whatever it would be for Makoto's case. But Anyways, I love that scene. It was great. It was worth watching. I've been waiting to see that scene since I read the manga. So, you know what? Haters hate, but I loved it.
Haters gonna hate, lovers gonna love.
Best visual moment of this episode. What do you think, DK? Best visual moment. Number one had a ton. This is a little more harder to find. The best visual moment of the episode.
So in general, the color is still my favorite thing about this episode.
I do love the color.
And even though it's a throwaway moment when Togusa and the Major go from the van into the Fuchikomas, and then they're in the Fuchikomas, and the way that it's rendered with all of that orange. I don't know why, just the various shades of the orange inside that thing. I was like, this looks so good. I don't know why. I can't articulate why, but it looked really good, and I just remember thinking that. There were character design stuff. When Aramaki was explaining, we told you about the squad, but that was a lie. It's really going to be this squad, but actually it's going to be this squad, but it's actually going to be this squad. There's this moment where it's just kind of tracking in on the Major's face because she gets it, even if I don't.
She's like this.
She gets it. Yeah, and that look, I was, it was just a reminder. Oh man, in this version, the Major has a personality, has emotions that she shows. She's not just a robot.
No, she's great. That's the best part about this show. Honestly, is like Makoto's personality. That she actually has a personality. She's really freaking funny, and she's cool, and she's a badass. And I was like, this is what we missed. If there was one fault of the film, the 1995 film, is that she didn't have much. There wasn't much emotion there. She was very, very.
I wouldn't say it was a fault because I think that Oshii did it so well. I think that where it becomes a fault is all the times that people try to copy Oshii and it just doesn't work. Doesn't work when they do it. Doesn't work for me in Arise. Doesn't work in Standalone Complex. But in this one, I love the character. But even though I've said it a few times, if I had to pick one visual, it would be that shot when her pleasure dream breaks and it's Bato's face, and then it's just a blanket that grabs her,
and then she just sinks into the image of like his face, and like, oh.
Yeah, that was
great,
beautifully rendered. Yeah,
you know what? I'm just gonna copy you on that one because that was a great moment too.
Heck yeah, copy me.
Copy you. Okay, you get one sentence to answer this question. We're not doing a 10-minute one, all right?
I'll do 5 words. How about that? 5 words.
I'll give you 10. All right. Biggest criticism of this episode.
Too many ad breaks, and.
But dude, you could pay for premium, DK. You can't blame that on Ghost in the Shell. Like that's a us problem. That's a me and you being. I'm
gonna start over. You're right.
Yeah.
Too many, but still, it was my experience, and so I'm gonna complain about it. So too many ad breaks.
And then you get 5 for the real point.
Too
many ad breaks.
Too much tell, no show. Okay. If that makes.
You gotta
there was a lot of tell and not showing. So we're just gonna explain everything to you, and it's not gonna make any sense. But listen, so that would be it.
This episode really did struggle in that regard, like with just getting the point of what you want to make across, especially for the film, and especially for the show. Sorry, and especially because they are laying the seeds now for literally the entire rest of the series. The episode 1 was like, hey, join us in this fun adventure. Episode 2 is like, hey, we got to actually plant some seeds because we got a 2501 project. You got the Puppet Master coming. Everyone knows it's coming, but they had to sow it. And it was a lot of work. You really do need to watch this a few times to get everything that you need to get to, get a full, I would say, 85% realized vision of what, they're going for in the series if you haven't read the manga before. Anyways, that was great. I give you that. That was a great. Okay. Score out of 10.
I'm going to be right down the middle. I'm going to say 5 for great plot stuff when it was there, great character stuff when it was there. Togusa being the butt of the jokes in his family, all great. But this episode was bloated with too much exposition, and so right down the middle for me. It's a 5.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 because I love the fan service scene. That was great. I'm glad they did it. And I'm not even I'm not even into like hentai or anything like that. Like that's not even my jam at all. But like having the fan service there was a good respite from the real world for a second. You know, it's fun.
Listen, when it comes, it is a welcome moment because there is no exposition. Well, actually, no, there is. Even in that scene, they have to explain her haptics being up to 5 and all that. But still, it's right after this huge geopolitical dump, and you're just like, oh, and then you're like, oh, hey, what's going on here?
You know, she's a powerful cyborg in every possible way, Dan. Okay.
Oh,
so
I
know. I get a 7. I mean, I give the first episode a 10 out of 10. I get a 7, and 7's me being generous because I'm just really enjoying the time I'm spending on the show. To be honest, like I'm really just
no hate.
I'm actually just loving tuning in. Even though I was like mad it ended, I was like, well, if you're mad it ended, you probably had a great time watching it. So like that's why I gave it a 7. But but 5
exactly. Once it got to the plot, I was like, dude, let's keep going. Why are we so wasted?
Why stop now?
And
Five is not an unfair. 5 is not an unfair number. I would say 5 is a very reasonable, ranking for this episode. Like I wouldn't, 5 out of 10. Like I get it, halfway there. Yeah, it wasn't quite.
Totally.
Yeah.
And hey, we mentioned Standalone Complex. Speaking of that, we had Ilya Kushanov, who did character design work for Standalone Complex 2045. Did the special image at the end of the credits at the end of this episode.
Ooh,
we didn't talk last time, but Yoji Shinkawa did a picture. The guy who did the artwork for the Metal Gear series did a picture for it.
So cool.
Very nice. So those are fun Easter eggs that are worth watching the credits for now.
I'll try to put on the pod. I always say that, but like a lot of times it's hard to find images. Like Ghost in the Shell, all the scenes we talked about, the first film, the 1995 film. If you haven't watched it, watch our pod. It's out there. It's awesome. But it was hard to find the stills of the scenes we were talking about. You know, I couldn't find the footage really. It was a lot tougher than I thought. And then Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence actually had a lot more easy access for stills that I needed to use. But anyways, last question here. Well, 2 questions. Last 2 questions, we're done, okay?
Okay.
Does this feel like real Ghost in the Shell? Or is it just is it a ghost hack? Are you getting hacked? I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel when you watch this, do you feel like this is really Ghost in the Shell? And you haven't have you finished the manga, or are you just kind of going chapter by chapter with
I'm going with the series. So it does. You know, my first look at what Ghost in the Shell was in this context was, like I said in a previous pod, it was that cover on the PlayStation game. It was that picture of the Major with that pouty look on her face, and I was like, who's this Major who has so much personality compared to the film? And so I every Ghost in the Shell is a constellation of anthologies, and
it's
this
own
is
little bubble, man. It's a bubble.
Yeah,
it's a bubble.
It's a bunch of them. Each star is its own unique little thing, and this absolutely does feel like Ghost in the Shell. This is just fun Ghost in the Shell. If the film is right, film is philosophy Ghost in the Shell. Second film is dark, psychological consequences. Everything is crazy Ghost in the Shell. Standalone Complex, CBS procedural Ghost in the Shell. Arise, like Mission Impossible Ghost in the Shell. This one, it's
K-pop Demon Hunter Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, like Arise. It's like exactly. It's like the light version. Okay, yeah, sure. And then this is definitely like, hey, the actual manga adaptation. So I mean, it's like, and
it's fun.
I get it.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm having a good time. If people don't like it, I get it too. Like, but it's like sometimes you just gotta release the feelings you have for the other properties and say, you know what, it's not better, it's just different.
Reddit, they really got to you, man. They really got to you.
Dude, the Reddit people destroyed me. I posted one short on Reddit, and they just freaking they didn't even understand the point I was trying to make, which is kind of ridiculous because it was literally right there in the dialogue, but of the short. But they're evil people on there now.
They're evil.
Tough.
They're evil on Reddit.
No, they're great. They were great, and I was like, their points were valid, but they didn't really watch the short. They just like saw the headline and just like did a freaking 3-page essay. I'm like, dude, if you have time for that, like write a novel. Anyway, is the criticism for this show fair or overblown? Because like we were just talking about, there has been a lot of negative criticism. There's been a lot of positive criticism. It's been a very, I would say 50-50 so far. You know, we're only 2 episodes in, but there's a lot of discussion. I mean, like YouTube is being blown up by Ghost in the Shell right now. I mean, anime world, This is like taking over. This is taking over the cyberspace and the real world. So, are the criticisms fair or is it overblown? What's your reaction? Give me like, I want 1 paragraph, no more, no less.
Okay, I think that I think that in anime in general, people will always criticize something for being different from the thing that they remember.
Right.
The only comparison I'll make is when Dragon Ball Kai was dubbed in English. It had a better script. It had the Japanese script they were using. It had better voice acting. The Funimation actors said themselves, you know, we were better actors because we'd been doing this for almost 30 years at this point, and they could act better, and it had better pacing. But it wasn't the thing that people remembered coming home from school, watching on Toonami. It wasn't the thing that made them feel the feelings when they were having their experiences in youth, and so they hated it. And so I don't think that it's a case of it being fair or overblown. I think that in general, people, dude, there are still people who prefer the original 1988 dub of Akira over the Pioneer dub. And if that's you, I get that that's a warm memory, but that dub is objectively worse. Now I'm poking Reddit. It's worse. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you what. DK. Let's go.
It's the same. It's the same damn reason why Kai dub is better than the original Z dub. It's because the script is the Japanese script. In the Pioneer dub, the one where Johnny Young Bosch plays Kaneda, that is closer to the Japanese script. The English script of the original, they didn't even know what Akira was. They didn't know it was a person. They thought it was like a psychic virus or something. So that movie is so confused in that dub. And it's like, it's so...
Terrible.
Yeah. It's so... Kaneda! Yeah. So, okay, listen. Now I'll walk it back. I apologize. If you guys like it... If you like it, it's fine. If you like it, it's fine. But... Again, I think that the main reason...
You can come talk all the shit you want, but just watch the pod first, okay?
We're going to have to cover Akira. Yeah. I'm going to have to go off on this at some point. So Akira's our next... I admit, I got in an argument with someone on the internet about this today. Because Akira is coming back to theaters in 4K in a month.
Dude, are we going to see it or we're going to see it?
Yeah, we got to. But all of the comments are like, it better be the original 80s dub. And it's like... Why? You want to watch a worse dub and a worse translation, a worse script, worse... Oh my god, you want to hear... Literally, the guy who plays Kaneda is the guy who played Leonardo in the 1980s Ninja Turtles show. Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thing in its own right, but come on, guys. Yeah. Johnny Young Bosch, man. That was his, like, breakout voice acting role. Anyways, okay, I digress.
Yeah, no, he was a great Black Ranger. Loved him. Big Power Ranger fan back in the day myself. But no, that was actually the best tangent of the night. I'm glad we did that because this has been one of the most fun episodes we've done in a while, I think. I mean, if we don't get 1 million views, I don't know what's wrong. I mean, this is going to be great, right?
Someday, man. Someday we'll hit that 1 million view dirt.
Someday we'll hit that thing, man. But all I got to say is, hey, you know what? Stick in, because I guarantee you guys, if this episode was a 5 out of 10 to you guys, for me a 7 out of 10, and it wasn't a 10 out of 10 like the first one, I guarantee you next episode is going to be a lot higher than it was on your scale for today if it was just that. Because this was, I don't want to say filler, because it was not a filler, but it was in between what's about to happen next. So stay tuned. tune in next Tuesday, next Wednesday, whenever we get this out. We're going to do it. We're going to make some more content for you guys. Also, like, subscribe to our channel, guys. Watch all of our stuff. Me and DK are doing a Mount Rushmore of anime right now. Like, hence why we are in the middle of Ghost in the Shell. Not just because of the new series, but we're covering Ghost in the Shell. We're going to do Akira. We're going to do Ninja Scroll. And we haven't decided on our final two after that. Maybe Vampire Hunter D. I don't know. But
Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust, specifically.
Bloodlust.
So,
but
yeah.
And then we're going to have to do a Miyazaki film as well. Like, that's got to, I mean, we got to have to put one of those on there as well. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Princess Mononoke for me. But
I'm a Mononoke all day, man. I have the storyboard book. It's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, Spirited Away is a really, like, I'd love to cover that one too. But we're gonna make a Mount Rushmore of anime, so we're gonna check out some new stuff, some old stuff. But tune in, watch every day. I'm releasing new content on the Dawn to Dawn manga read along as well. I'm doing that every other day. So tune in the pod, subscribe, like, and follow us, and join us for next time. Because I know if you're watching today, you had a damn good time. Because I did. Okay, until next time, I'll see you later, DK. Oh!
Akira!
Akira!